Everyone thinks they know what a philosopher is. They're wrong. The popular image of a philosopher is often one of quiet contemplation, perhaps a scholar poring over ancient texts in a serene library. But Diogenes, the radical cynic from ancient Greece, shattered that comfortable illusion entirely. He didn't just question society. He openly mocked it, lived in defiance of it, and in doing so became one of history's most profoundly challenging thinkers. Born in Sinope around 412 BCE, Diogenes' early life was marked by scandal. His father, Hicesias, a money changer, was implicated in defacing the currency, leading to their exile from the city. This event, rather than breaking Diogenes, seemed to free him, setting him on a path of radical individualism and a relentless pursuit of what he called virtue in action. He arrived in Athens, the intellectual heart of the ancient world, not seeking acceptance, but seeking to disrupt. He saw the city's sophisticated rhetoric and elaborate rituals as mere facades, masking hypocrisy and artificiality. Diogenes believed true wisdom lay not in complex theories, but in stripping away everything superfluous to live in harmony with nature. His chosen dwelling became legendary, a large ceramic jar or pithos in the bustling marketplace. This wasn't a humble abode, it was a deliberate statement. He scorned material possessions, seeing them as shackles that bound people to convention and distraction. His home was a public performance, a constant, silent critique of Athenian values. Diogenes embraced poverty not as a hardship, but as a path to freedom. He owned only a cloak, a staff, and a wallet for food. When he saw a boy drinking water from his cupped hands, Diogenes reportedly threw away his last possession, a wooden bowl, declaring, "A boy has beaten me in plainness of living." His philosophy, cynicism, derived from the Greek word kainikos, meaning dog-like, wasn't just about rejecting materialism. It was a radical call to live according to reason and virtue, free from social conventions, political ambition, and the pursuit of pleasure. He believed most human suffering came from our attachment to these unnatural desires. Diogenes' public acts were designed to shock and provoke. He would walk through the marketplace in broad daylight, carrying a lit lamp. When asked why, he'd famously reply, "I am looking for an honest man." This wasn't just a witty retort. It was a profound indictment of the moral decay he perceived in Athenian society. He openly challenged powerful figures. When Alexander the Great, at the height of his power, visited Diogenes and asked if there was anything he could do for him, Diogenes famously replied, "Yes, stand out of my sunlight." This wasn't disrespectful. It was a profound assertion of personal freedom and the ultimate irrelevance of earthly power. Diogenes saw through the elaborate rituals and social graces of his time. He would eat in the marketplace, perform bodily functions openly, and even masturbate in public, arguing that if it wasn't shameful to be hungry or aroused, it shouldn't be shameful to satisfy those natural urges in public. His actions were scandalous, but they were also meticulously calculated to force people to confront their own ingrained prejudices and hypocrisies. He wanted them to question why they valued appearances over substance, and why they allowed societal expectations to dictate their deepest desires and actions. He believed that true happiness, or eudaimonia, could only be achieved by rejecting conventional desires for wealth, power, and fame, and by embracing self-sufficiency and a life lived in accordance with nature. This meant a life free from the anxieties and frustrations that come with chasing external validation. Diogenes was not a nihilist. He was an optimist about human potential, if only people would free themselves from their self-imposed chains. He believed in the inherent goodness and wisdom of the natural world, a stark contrast to the human-centric focus of much Athenian philosophy. His legacy is complex. Some saw him as a madman, a provocateur for provocation's sake. Others, like the Stoics who followed, recognized the profound wisdom in his radical simplicity and commitment to living authentically. Even Plato, while critical, called him Socrates gone mad. Diogenes' life serves as a powerful reminder that philosophy isn't just an academic pursuit. It's a way of living, a challenge to scrutinize our values, and a call to align our actions with our deepest convictions. He didn't write books. He was the book, a living embodiment of his beliefs. His defiance of social norms wasn't anarchic. It was a deliberate strategy to expose the arbitrary nature of those norms. He believed that many of the rules we live by are not based on reason or natural law, but on fear, tradition, and the desire for social approval. Today, his philosophy resonates in our hyper-consumerist, image-obsessed world. We're constantly bombarded with messages telling us what to buy, how to look, and what to desire. Diogenes' life asks us, what if none of that truly matters? What if true freedom comes from shedding the weight of expectations, both our own and society's? What if authenticity isn't about fitting in, but about courageously standing out, even if it means living in a jar and being ridiculed? Diogenes challenged the very definition of civilized. He argued that many so-called civilized behaviors were actually uncivilized because they alienated people from their true nature and from each other. He favored frankness, simplicity, and directness over polite hypocrisy. His life wasn't about finding definitive answers, but about asking uncomfortable questions. He dared to live out those questions in plain sight, forcing everyone around him to confront their own assumptions about happiness, virtue, and purpose. The cynic ideal of autarkia, or self-sufficiency, is a powerful antidote to modern anxieties. In a world where we're constantly told we need more, Diogenes reminds us that perhaps we need less, and that true contentment comes from within, not from external acquisitions. His radical commitment to truth, even when it was inconvenient or offensive, is a lesson in intellectual honesty. He refused to compromise his principles for comfort or social acceptance, choosing instead a path of rigorous self-examination and brutal honesty. Diogenes' life was a performance art of philosophy, a living experiment in what it means to be truly human, stripped of all pretense. He was a mirror held up to society, reflecting its absurdities and challenging its deepest illusions. So the next time you feel the weight of societal expectations or the pull of consumer desires, remember Diogenes in his jar. Ask yourself, what illusions am I clinging to? What would it truly mean to live authentically, free from the noise? His story isn't just history. It's a timeless invitation to question, to challenge, and to perhaps find your own version of freedom. If Diogenes' radical freedom intrigues you, perhaps the practical wisdom of stoicism will resonate next.